Adani is laughing at the people of Kenya. Here's why. There's a 75-page agreement between Adani Airport Holdings and the Kenyan government that protects them fully. Here are 5 glaring ways in which the Kenyan government has thrown its citizens under the bus, prioritizing the profits of a multinational corporation over the welfare of its own people. The agreement shields Adani from any losses due to protests, legal actions, or changes in the Kenyan law. If Kenyans protest the takeover, or Parliament passes a law affecting Adani's operations, the company will be compensated for lost profits. This means that any legitimate resistance from the public or the government will ultimately cost the Kenyan taxpayers millions. Essentially, the government has signed a blank check for Adani, leaving the citizens to foot the bills for exercising their rights. Adani can terminate the agreement and demand massive compensation if the government fails to meet its end of the bargain. For instance, if a permit is delayed, or the government fails to remove legal barriers within 60 or 90 days, Adani walks away with compensation. This clause holds the government hostage to Adani's demands and sets the stage for a possible financial crisis, once again to be shouldered by the taxpayers. The Kenyan people will have to pay for the government's mistakes or shortcomings, no matter how minor they may be. If any political unrest or protest prevent Adani from collecting airport charges for more than 7 days, they can demand compensation. This means that peaceful civil disobedience, which is an essential democratic right, becomes a financial burden on the country. By criminalizing and monetizing civic engagement, the agreement ensures that ordinary Kenyans pay a steep price for any unrest, effectively silencing political dissent for the benefit of a foreign corporation. Should Kenya pass new laws or policies that affect Adani's operations, whether for environmental protection, labor rights, or safety regulations, Adani can demand compensation for the potential loss of profits. Essentially, this clause locks the Kenyan government into maintaining a business environment that benefits Adani, even at the expense of national interests. Kenyans are thus denied the opportunity to have laws that reflect their evolving needs or values. In case of termination, Adani gets almost ridiculous amounts of compensation, including 100% of its debt and 150% of its equity, along with various other costs, even in a scenario where the government might want to retake control of the airport. It would be financially crippling to do so. The government has sold out its ability to act independently, and the ultimate cost will again fall on the shoulders of Kenyan citizens, ensuring they continue to suffer long after the agreement ends. What's shocking is that this is not an isolated case. Across Africa, governments are entering into similarly lopsided agreements with multinational corporations. These deals, often shrouded in secrecy, prioritize foreign investors' profits over the well-being of citizens that they are meant to serve. From mining to infrastructure, many African countries are finding themselves trapped in unfair contracts that limit their sovereignty, exploit their resources. The worst part, citizens often remain unaware until it's too late. It's time for African citizens to demand full transparency. The public must be made aware of the contents of such agreements before they are signed. Governments should not be allowed to sell off national assets or make decisions that impoverish their people in favor of multinationals. The people must have a say. In a democracy, sovereign power lies with the people. Any agreement that does not safeguard the interests of the public should be deemed invalid. Kenyans and Africans at large must rise up and demand that their government serve them, not foreign corporations. It's time to ensure that agreements like the Adani Kenya deal are exposed for what they are: outrageous betrayals of public trust. The government has no right to enter any agreement that shortchanges the citizens. The people must come first, always.